I, 35M, was married to Emily, 33F, for over 9 years. We got together when we were 22 and 20, made it through college, our first jobs, rented apartments, the loss of my dad, her depression, and my night shifts at the hospital. We thought we were unbreakable, but 2 years ago, she told me she didn't feel the same anymore. There were no fights, no cheating, at least, as far as I knew at the time. Just, I need to be on my own for a while. And she left. I stayed in the apartment we had built together, surrounded by her empty mug on the shelf and the faint smell of her perfume in the closet she forgot to clear out that I was shattered. I didn't see it coming. I had plans. House, kids, travel. I thought she did too. A few weeks after she left, she filed for divorce. It was finalized about 4 months later. During that whole time, she was cold and distant. Said she needed to find herself, that she didn't want to be a wife anymore, that she wasn't sure she wanted kids. Like I was a weight on her shoulders, not a partner. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I kept asking, what did I do wrong? But her answers were always vague. It's not about you. It's about me. The worst kind of answer. Gave me no closure. Just emptiness. I tried to move on. I started working more, hit the gym, talked to a therapist. Slowly, the pain dulled. After about 6 months, I even started casually dating. Nothing serious, just dinner, a movie, some talking. Life moved on. Slowly, step by step. Then last week, almost 2 years after she walked out, I get a message from her. Hey, can we talk? I regret everything that happened. It hit me like a bolt of lightning. At first, I didn't respond. Thought maybe it was a joke or a mistake. But then she messaged again and again. Eventually, I agreed to meet. We met at a little cafe downtown, the kind we used to go to all the time. She didn't look like the Emily I remembered. Tired, thinner, dark circles under her eyes. But still her. She started crying the moment she sat down. Told me she made a huge mistake. That she left me when what she really needed was therapy, not a new life. That she never found herself, just more confusion. That no one ever loved her like I did. That she'd been seeing someone, but he turned out emotionally unavailable. Toxic even. That she finally realized what she had lost. I just listened. Inside, I had 2 voices screaming at each other. One was yelling, tell her to go to hell. She left you for no reason. And the other, quiet, but stubborn, whispered, what if this is your chance to get it all back? And then she asked me, do you still love me? I didn't answer. I didn't know. Asterisk after she asked me if I still loved her, the silence between us stretched on. She looked down at her coffee, not saying a word. I could see her hands trembling slightly, the same way they used to when she was nervous before job interviews or during thunderstorms that I didn't know what to say. The truth is, I had loved her deeply. She was my best friend, my person, the one I imagined growing old with. But after everything that had happened, I wasn't sure anymore. I didn't even know who she was now. I finally said, I don't know. She nodded like she expected that. I deserve that, she whispered. There was something in her voice that sounded broken. Not manipulative, not rehearsed. Just sad. Real. We sat there for nearly 2 hours. She talked more than I did. About how she tried to fill the emptiness with parties, new friends, dating apps. Nothing worked. She admitted she'd gone to therapy only recently, and her therapist had told her she needed to confront the mess she left behind. And that mess, she said quietly, was walking away from someone who would have stood by me no matter what. I wanted to yell. I wanted to cry. I wanted to hug her. I felt everything and nothing at the same time. How do you forgive someone for something they did while claiming it wasn't personal? How do you trust someone who shattered your entire idea of forever? Before we left, she asked if we could meet again. Just to talk. No pressure. I agreed, mostly out of curiosity, partly out of unresolved feelings. And maybe because some part of me still cared. We met 2 more times that week. Once for lunch in the park, once at a bookstore. It felt familiar and strange at the same time. She was softer now, less defensive, less sure of herself, in a way that made her feel more human. She admitted to a lot of things I hadn't known. That she had been emotionally checked out months before she left. That there was someone she had started talking to, someone she thought might offer her a new start. But it fizzled out quickly, and she realized she was projecting all her unhappiness onto me. I thought running away would solve everything, she said. Instead, I just learned how lonely freedom can be. I asked her, finally, what she wanted from me. I don't expect you to take me back, she said. But if there's even a chance, I'd spend the rest of my life trying to earn it. The thing is, I'm not sure if I want her back. I'm not the same man I was 2 years ago. The version of me who would have dropped everything to take her back is gone. But there's this other version of me, stronger, maybe colder, who's asking himself, what if she really means it? It's like standing at the edge of a cliff. There's beauty in the view, but you remember the last time you jumped and how much it hurt when you hit the ground. Some friends say I'd be stupid to even consider it. Others say people can change, and maybe this is proof. My mom, who adored her before everything happened, told me, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but it does mean you're strong enough to give someone a second chance if you want to. That's the key part. If I want it out, I'm still figuring that out. About a week after our last conversation, I asked Emily if she wanted to take a walk through our old neighborhood. It wasn't some big romantic gesture. I just needed to return to the places where we used to be us and see how it felt. Maybe I hoped that something in the air would give me clarity that we passed our old corner store, where she used to run in barefoot at night for chocolate. Walked past the bench where we once argued about IKEA furniture for 2 hours. The apartment we lived in. The curtains were different now, but I still remembered how the sunlight hit the floor in the mornings. She was quiet the whole time. Respectful. Letting me take the lead. At one point I asked her, "Did you ever think about what I was going through after you left?" She looked at me like I'd hit her. "Every day," she said, but I was too ashamed to reach out. I told myself you'd be better off without me, that you'd hate me. I thought I deserved that. I told her what those days had really been like. How I'd wake up expecting to see her in the kitchen. How I'd reach for her in bed without thinking. How I'd cry in the shower so nobody could hear me. She cried too, standing there on the sidewalk like no one else existed. She tried to reach for my hand, but I gently pulled it back. Not yet. A few days later, I asked her to come to a therapy session with my therapist. If we were even going to consider anything, I needed someone neutral in the room. To my surprise, she agreed without hesitation. The session was raw. I told the therapist and her everything I had bottled up, the betrayal, the abandonment, the humiliation of having to explain to people that my wife just left. And Emily listened. She didn't interrupt, didn't defend herself. When it was her turn, she said something that stuck with me. "I don't deserve to be forgiven, but I want to show him that I can be better, that we can be better if he ever lets me in again." The therapist looked at me and said, "Forgiveness isn't a door you just open. It's a hallway you walk down, together, slowly." I don't know why, but that clicked. Over the next few weeks, we started seeing more of each other. No sleeping over, no touching, just walks, talks, therapy. We even started a sort of reintroduction journal, something her therapist recommended. Every day, we'd write a paragraph to each other about anything, a memory, a fear, a question, a joke, something honest. Some entries were awkward, some were beautiful. One day she wrote, "Do you remember the night it snowed in May and we ran outside like idiots? I felt so stupid and so happy. That's still the happiest I've ever been." Another day I wrote, "Part of me still loves you. Part of me still hates what you did. I don't know which part is louder yet." It was honest and messy, but it was real. Then one night, she showed up with a photo album. It had all the pictures from our wedding, trips, our cat, who sadly passed away last year. She had written notes under every photo. Funny, sweet, painful. Under one wedding photo she wrote, "This was the moment I realized I wanted to grow old with you. I lost sight of that. I'm trying to find it again." We didn't speak much that night, but we sat together, shoulder to shoulder. And for the first time in a long time, it didn't hurt. It just felt quiet and safe. That I still haven't decided what the end of this story is. Maybe we'll rebuild something new from the ashes. Maybe I'll realize I've outgrown what we had. Maybe we'll just part as two people who learned a lot too late. But I'm giving it time. And for now, that's enough. It had been about 2 months since Emily and I started talking again. Not dating, talking, relearning, rebuilding. That it felt like walking through a burned-out house, trying to decide if the foundation was still strong enough to build again. Sometimes it felt like yes. Other times, I wasn't so sure that I could see how much she'd changed. She was trying. She didn't push. She showed up on time. She listened. She went to therapy. She took responsibility. But still, something inside me hesitated. That it wasn't anger anymore. I had let go of most of that. It was more like fear. The fear of trusting someone who had once walked away so easily. The fear of investing again, only to lose everything again. One evening, we were sitting on my porch drinking tea. It was raining lightly, the kind of soft summer rain that makes everything smell like memory. She looked at me and said, "Do you think there's still a version of us that works?" I thought about it, and I said, "I think there might be, but I don't know if I'm him anymore. And I don't know if you are either." She nodded slowly. "If we're different people now, maybe we don't need to go back. Maybe we could start from scratch." That's when I realized something I hadn't admitted to myself. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to pretend we were still the couple from 5 years ago. I didn't want to pick up the pieces and glue them together. I wanted something new, honest, built with full awareness of what had already been broken. I told her that I think I still care about you, but I don't think I want to be married to you again. Not because I hate you, but because I've learned how to live without you. And I kind of like who I've become. She looked stunned. Not angry, just stunned. Like she hadn't allowed herself to think that far ahead. Like she'd been so focused on redemption, she forgot that I had changed too. "You're saying no?" she asked softly. "I'm saying, I'm not going back. I'm moving forward. And maybe, just maybe, we'll walk in the same direction. For a little while. But I'm not going to pretend we can erase what happened." She wiped her eyes. "I understand. It hurts. But I understand." I offered to walk her to her car. On the way, she took my hand. For a moment, it felt like old times. Then she let go and smiled. Really smiled, for the first time in a long time. "I'm glad I met you," she said. even if we didn't get the ending I wanted. I replied, maybe this is the ending we needed. We haven't spoken much since. Just a few polite messages now and then. I hear from mutual friends that she's doing better, still in therapy. Started volunteering, adopted a dog. I'm happy for her. Truly.as for me. I'm dating someone now. Slowly, carefully. She knows my history. She's patient. She doesn't try to compete with the past. She's building something new with me, and I didn't know how much I needed that until now. Sometimes, the greatest love story isn't the one where you get back together, it's the one where you learn to let go. With Grace, it's been a year since that final conversation with Emily on my porch. A lot has changed. I live in a different apartment now. Smaller, cozier, mine. No echoes of old memories in the walls. Just peace. I have a little balcony garden that I never would have had. Time for before. Turns out I like growing things that I'm still with the woman I started dating back then. Her name's Natalie. She's calm in a way I never knew I needed. We move slowly, intentionally. We talk about everything. No hidden feelings. No silent expectations. She knows about Emily. Knows everything. And she never once made me feel guilty for the time it took to fully move on. As for Emily, we ran into each other at a bookstore not long ago. She looked good, healthy, peaceful. She told me she was moving to a new city for work. Said she's doing well. Therapy helped. The dog helps even more. We talked for a few minutes. It wasn't awkward, just kind. Before she left, she said, "Thank you for not pretending everything was fine, for being honest. I think your honesty saved both of us." I nodded, and I meant it when I said, "I'm glad you're okay." We hugged. Just once. And that was it. No drama. No lingering hope. Just two people who once meant everything to each other, and now quietly wish each other well. That it's not the ending I imagined, but it's the one I needed. And honestly, I think it's a pretty good one.